or itchier, itchier. Which side needs scratching? Okay, this side. Or this side. Which one? Which one is itchier? Which one is itchier? Which one? Which one needs the scratching? The scratching. Which one? Which one? This side. Okay. Okay. Scratch. 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 How does that feel? How does that feel? Do you feel less itchy? Less itchy? Did that help? Did that help? Did that help? Not really. Not really. Okay. Okay. Listen. Okay. I can help you. It's fine. Just sit still. Okay. Scratch. 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 I'm gonna get really in here. Okay. Do I have your permission? Your permission. Okay. I'm just gonna go a little more aggressive. Is that okay? Okay. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. This should help. This should help. Okay. Okay. What about now? What about now? Did that help? Did that help? You're still itchy.